It's not uncommon to hear stories about two athletes who dominate their respective sport and are bonding with one another due to the fact that they're both top athletes in their respective fields. But when you talk about the case of Virat Kohli and Novak Djokovic, and yes, that has been revealed to be a rather recent, let's say, friendship that has come about between two athletes who are absolutely at the top of their respective games, it becomes a little bit more confusing because, again, Virat, whilst coming from a nation that does follow tennis, India does have a pretty good history when it comes to the sport of tennis. Novak Djokovic comes from Serbia, a country that has about as much to do with cricket as the continent of Antarctica. So there's not really a lot that goes on when it comes to the world of cricket, where you'll hear the country Serbia pop up a lot. In fact, more often than not, cricket's not a sport that's very European centric. You will have maybe England, who are European nations that ironically the inventors that play the sport, and then you'll have teams like the Netherlands who will be there and thereabouts. But beyond that, not really a lot. Yet it will actually surprise you to know that both of these people are actually very good friends, and there's no surprise that there's mutual respect that's shared. But how exactly did this friendship come about? Well, if you hear the two of them talk about it, came about thanks to one sliding into the other's DMs. And I wish I was making this up. That is in fact not a joke. That is exactly what happened. So recently, Novak Djokovic, when he was speaking to the broadcasters for the Australian Open in India, he said, very interestingly reveal how it is that him and Kohli became friends. He said that Virat Kohli and I have been texting a little bit for a few years. We never got the chance to meet in person, but it was an honor and privilege to listen to him speak nicely about me. I admire his achievements. Now, again, as I mentioned very clearly, this is a Serbian person talking about the achievements of someone in a sport that he'd probably have little to no idea about. Of course, Djokovic is getting plenty familiar with the sport of cricket. You'd remember recently he was caught playing the game or playing some variant of the game with Steve Smith on a tennis court in Melbourne. That is a sentence I actually just said, and one that is very, very true. So obviously he's getting a little bit of a bug for the sport, but this is just his side of the story. What exactly is Virat's side of the story? He interestingly also mentioned it in a recent video that was uploaded by the BCCI on their social media accounts. And it's a bit of a long story, but definitely one worth revisiting and talking about a lot more. Djokovic says that I got in touch with Novak very organically. When I saw his profile on Instagram, I pressed the message button. I thought I would just message him. Then I saw his message already on my DM. I had never opened it. That's pretty interesting. Again, how often does it happen that you think, oh, I'm going to go and message this person who's really supremely popular on social media on top of his sport and someone who is well known the world over, and you see and you already have a message from that person? I mean, Kohli is a very lucky man, and I'm sure a lot of Novak Djokovic fans would agree with that particular sentiment. And he goes on to expand further about how he thought that maybe it was just a fake account that was messing around, but then found out that no, it was actually the real deal. Because as Kohli reveals, he said, first I thought, let me just check, maybe it's a fake account, but it was legitimate and we got to talking. We have been exchanging messages every now and then. I congratulated him for all his achievements. So both of them seem to share a lot of mutual love and respect for each other in terms of course, their achievements in their respective fields. And in fact, Kohli would go on to reveal that one of the other things that he and Novak seem to share a passion for is fitness and keeping themselves in tip-top condition, which again doesn't come as much as a surprise. Both of them are absolute alpha males when it comes to their fitness and their dedication to it. Kohli has set new standards for it in the world of cricket. Novak too in the sport of tennis. Definitely one of the fitter guys that's around. And it's no surprise that both of them bond over these things. But it does go to tell you a very interesting story that sometimes you don't necessarily need, let's say, shared sporting interests or stuff like that. When you're top athletes, you respect, another athlete who's at the top of his game, even if it's one that you may not necessarily be all too familiar with. As that rather popular internet saying goes, game recognizes game. And in the case of Djokovic and Kohli, they both recognize each other's respective game, but have also formed a mutual respect and even, dare you say, a friendship due to this mutual respect. Definitely a very interesting story, one that I personally found fascinating. What even more fascinating is that Djokovic is now saying, listen, I need to brush up on my cricket skills before I come to India because I don't want to be found wanting. Definitely very heartwarming, very touching. But what are your thoughts on the entire matter? Well, you can let us know in the comments below, and don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, to like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Don't forget to download the AajTak app, and if you're already on the channel, well, then go right ahead, check out some other videos we've done. For now though, from my side, it's goodbye.